All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I am going to do a viewer request here. I'm going to do one more look at finger because there were a couple questions I really want to ask the team here, okay? NNDM, there's been a bunch of people asking about it actually, and I think there's some interesting things going on, so I think it's well worth discussing. ICU, look, the team made some good money on ICU, and there's a shot it can do it again. There's a shot it keeps dropping, and I think we're at a very 50-50 point, and let's see what the confirmation shows, right? And then GROM, GROM, I'll be honest, the last time I looked at it was earlier in the morning. I think I still need a little bit more to believe, but let's see where it closed and how thoughts might change, all right? But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines, as well as the occasional diagonal trend line that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much, but for real, just being here and giving me your time is super appreciated, all right? So let's get into it. And look, finger motion, okay? I'm really making this video to talk about this candle right here, the Friday the 13th, as well as my earnings comment that I made on the last video, okay? I will very much say that the Friday earnings were really quiet. Okay, I was expecting a call, right? Like, give me a sec. Let me just, like, for my FNGR. Like, this is a NASDAQ listed big ticker stock. Like, I was expecting a call for sure. I don't think that ever happened, all right? I was not sure if an earnings really happened or not. And again, I love this two-way street that we're building here, right? I give you technical thoughts, you give me fundamental thoughts. When educated people share opinions, amazing things can happen, right? And this is the link I'm sharing here. I will put this in the YouTube comments as well. You can see that this was filed on Friday, October 13th, that same doji candle that I've been mentioning on the videos, all right? You can see that there's a little X right there. It's the quarterly report, and it's the end of the last quarter, right? So this right here is the earnings. And look, I will be very honest with you. I did not go through all of this. All right, you can see how many numbers I'm quickly scrolling through, right? Like, I'm not looking at any. I never do that, right? Like, I shouldn't say never. I, like, beyond rarely look at it, all right? That said, my comments essentially were, look, the day the earnings dropped, we got a crazy doji. Doji, to me, screams uncertainty, all right? And, man, we went super horizontal almost the entire week. You know what I mean? Like, little bit of a peak up, it seemed like things were going good, little bit of drop down, little bit of a startup here, but then a drop down here, right? Little bit of a, like, it just very much stayed horizontal with that earnings drop until Friday. Friday was a relatively ugly candle, but again, too many assumptions could be made because, you know, we've seen basically this thing and, you know, the Monday open where we gap down from this original loss of the 8 and then just go and lose 2 moving averages on one candle, that's horrible. And what did I say? I said, look, we're either going to confirm poorly, and I'm pretty sure I gave 520. I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember the number, but I think that was actually not that wrong, if anything. Or we were going to come back up. And the sad thing was the wick actually hit my OR. You can see the high of the day in the box over there was 579, right? One of the things I basically said was come back into that, like, I think I was saying 590. I think I needed at least 590. Yeah, that makes sense because that looks like about half of that guy right there. But if anything, again, there was a fake wick over the 50 that hopefully didn't fool too many, right? But yeah, man, this is a bad confirmation to this Monday. I sincerely believe that this Monday was the ultimate reaction to this doji, and this doji came from the earnings. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. There are some viewers of mine that know finger motion way better than I do, that actually started looking at all these numbers, that were looking at the comparisons between last year and this year, and like doing their fundamental thing. And people like the earnings. People like the earnings on Monday. People like the earnings on Tuesday. End of the day, the market decided to tell us what it thought on Monday, and today we get the confirmation. All right. And look, someone asked me, what do I mean when I say like the market's reaction, like who or what's the market? I think the answer is a big candle. And I know that kind of sounds silly as I'm saying the words out loud, but like the market in my head means significant volume, or at least, you know, over the 50 moving average, right? But good volume on a strong candle equals the market's reaction. And then obviously I say it on every video, doesn't matter, like confirmation, right? Like if this if this, let me say it this way. If Friday closed at 670 and then Monday closed at 7, I would have very loudly said we're going to 760. Like again, if we were able to get to this between, you know, Friday and Monday, yeah, the Tuesday bad that we saw would have been equally, if not stronger, up. You know what I mean? And I genuinely believe that. I do. All right. So, yeah, not too many new look, same essential analysis as yesterday, right? We've now lost the 8. We've now lost the 20. We've now lost the 50. It seems like we're coming to the 100, right? Like there's not too much more. And the problem is, green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 red. It's a fast fall down, and it seems like we're going to be coming into the 480s. Damn, hopefully we don't even go lower into the 445 range, right? But yeah, it's hard to expect anything other than 483 on this stock. I'm zooming out just to see how bad has the RSI gotten. Damn, you've gotten real bad. Even this one is relatively bad, and we peaked it here. And then what are you? This line right here. I think there's reason to believe we're not going to go much lower than 480. I actually do think that. I think 480 can hold, and I think a lot of that I just got from the RSI right there. Again, lose the 100, it should fall to the 200, right? And that would be, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It would be a horrible drop, right? But yeah, at the minimum, we've lost these 3. It's hard to believe we won't go here. The one just positive to say, look, since we've broken it in early January, we haven't even come relatively close to it, all right? And look, you use the 50 once, you use the 50 twice, you use the 53, 4, 5 times, you lose it on the 6th. Ideally, we're only going to touch this thing once and then go back up, and then hopefully not come back for a while, right? Kind of like we did right here all the way through till here, right? So I think I'm going to give this 100 moving average a little bit of credibility. I think this should hold. It's hard for me to believe we're not going to come to it, though. That's for sure, all right? 445 seems a little bit louder on the weekly, since that's where the 200 moving average is lining up. I think, though, I'm going to stick with it's not going to go lower than that. What's the candle? Ah, that's a fat candle to maybe drop to 452, and at that point I'm going to stay. I think it's going to hold. I do. All right, let's see what happens. Finger, though. Earnings. This is the reaction comment that I made from the last video. All right, let me know your thoughts and opinions as always. Otherwise, NNDM. Let's take a look at this one. All right. So this is a stock I actually know. Look, I haven't covered this in a long time, but you can still see I got my lines right here. I think I got lines a little bit higher up. Yeah, I do. Right. So I'm just going to zoom out really quickly because, again, it's a stock I haven't talked about in a while. So like, let's just remember what this stock looks like. All right. For the most part, we're under all the moving averages. All right. There was definitely a very nice sustained run up So I know that it knows how to do it, and that's something I like, right? I like knowing that it knows how to go from essentially March, end of March, all the way through February of the next year, right? Like it can hold a big uptrend for a long time. Beautiful. I love that. Nonetheless, don't forget we've been well under all 5 moving averages for most of this thing's life, all right? What's starting to happen is now all 5 lines are really tight within each other, right? Literally all 5 are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see all the colors. This is something I actually call a horizontal cluster of moving averages, all right? It is by no means a technical term, but the phrase says it all, right? The lines are really clustered and they're pretty much moving horizontally, all right? And I often call this a tornado. You go up, you go down. You go up, you get sucked back in for no reason. And one more time, where are we at? We're trying to make an attempt up. We actually are right here, all right? Look, the last few days have been legit volume, all right? This was a big monster. This was at least a decent buy. This one kind of cancels that one out. We're still like several million shares up between the 4 days, right? Like more people are holding than they are letting go. We're over all 5 lines. We're over all 5 lines. We're now taking off a little bit, right? Like these are positive things to say, all right? That said, again, we've actually escaped and gone and then come back down, right? So for me, there's a lot of a 5 line, all 5, like I call it a moving average cluster when there's 3 of them, when there's 4 of them. I'll be honest, all 5 of them, that's a very tight line, all right? Yeah, there's like a baby uptrend right there. This is pretty much horizontal in my book, all right? If we can escape the 5, and these are the stocks I always show, all right? PLTR, Palantir, okay? Palantir, super tight, all 5, super tight, all 5, goes way up, comes back down, way up, back down, way up, back down. Break all 5, confirm and fly, or you HUSA it. Again, it's a little more zoomed out, but you can see all 5, all 5, all 5, all 5, all 5, right? You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you eventually lose all 5 and you die, right? So it's a very big boomerang play, all right? There was a comment that this is somehow Israeli connected. Let me know if that's true, all right? Look, listen. I'm not here to talk about politics. I think it's the most messed up thing that's going on out there. And like, dude, the news is like horrible and ugly and so many different opinions on that, right? Nonetheless, if this is somehow connected to the war in the Middle East, like that could make it money, right? And it's messed up to say. It sounds really dirty and you can kind of hear my voice, right? But yeah, end of the day, right? Like we're less here to be rational, emotional humans and more to trade like machines, right? Like that's why we're using these lines and stuff, right? And if this thing can escape break all 5 and fly on top of some like political world event news, man, that could be a little interesting, all right? We are in a positive MACD that's actually diverging pretty well. Again, diverging just means the 2 lines are going away from each other, right? That's a nice divergence. This is a really healthy RSI, was not that long ago that we were actually in the living in the 8. Look at all those 80 numbers. Look at all those as I'm moving across in the box over there. 84, 86, 88, 88, 85, we're 82, living in the 80s, right? So there's plenty of room for this thing to go from the 50s, 60s to the 80s and then live up there, right? Let me know if there's a connection, all right? It can easily go, it can easily get sucked back in. Be careful with this play, but yeah, I think there's some interesting things here, all right? Oh, man. I don't think I looked at the weekly when I was giving any... Wow. 294 is a monster number. I'm gonna set an alert at 294. Where are you on the daily? 290. Yeah, 294 is the money line. And again, break the 100, go to the 200 is a real big move. It's basically a 33% move. Again, this is a weekly chart view, not a daily chart view. So this can take, like you can see it, this made a really nice move before, but it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before it went from down here to up here, right? But, ooh, a lot to like. That said, we have not broken that blue line since 2021. Almost an entire 2 years, because this is basically November. We're in late October, right? Yo, NNDM is close. Don't get overly confident, but yeah, I think that 294 line, I think that's a good money line right there. Damn, this is going, I went way longer than I intended to. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, all right? ICU. All right, where's ICU at? Look, ICU is doing its best to keep riding the moving averages, all right? Does a good little bounce here. You can basically say the 100. Let's actually be real. It uses the 100 moving average well, uses the 100 moving average well. Hasn't really used the 8 moving average as I'm actually looking at all of this, right? It breaks it. That's the 100. That's the 100. You can argue that it uses that to like trampoline up and follow through. Maybe I'll buy that, but look, we're at least riding an 8 that's going up. There is a 20 moving average that's going up, and now the 50 is starting to creep up a little bit, right? That was a golden cross right there. That was a golden cross right there. Are we going to see the 50 golden cross the 100? Again, when a smaller one goes over a big one, that's a golden cross, and that's a good thing, right? So, I also like that we did close over the bigger candle to the left. Interesting. Ooh. Oh, we're right there. We're right at the bottom. All right, so I think the money line will be 88 cents. I'm going to go ahead and set myself an 88-cent alert here. Break 88 cents, and I think there's a reason to believe we'll come to basically $1.10. Obviously, hopefully we'll go a little bit more and try to finish the gap fill, maybe even get to the 200. But if we don't, I think there's a chance that this comes down to 75 cents. I think there's a chance that this comes down to 66 cents, which actually was our bottom wick today, give or take. And then super worst case would be 57 cents. But I think that's a little bit extreme. I think 66, 65 has a real shot, and I think 75 does. But I will be honest, $1.10 does as well. And it's if we can break our little money line right there. So I got my alert set. Moving averages going up is a good thing, baby. That's what we like, right? And man, there's a lot to be recovered here. We haven't even touched this 200 moving average, right? The purple line. So I think it's going to be a little premature to just assume that breaks. I think what happened with the 100 moving average would make sense on that line. I think hopefully we'll get over it. We'll come back to it. We'll maybe bounce again, come back to it, and then take off, right? Boom, 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 flew, right? So I could see that happening with ICU, but so far so good. That's actually a really nice little uptrend we got. In fact, let's draw the uptrend. I will take it from this candle and go to that candle. I hate this like auto snap thing. There we go. There we go. That's our line. So far so good. So far so good. And let's be honest, if tomorrow comes down to about 72 cents roughly, that's still going to actually be holding the uptrend, just FYI. So ICU, I am definitely liking it. I'm going to do one more GROM. Let's take a look at GROM real quick. Look, I'm not liking GROM. I'll be real honest with you, all right? All this thing has been doing is going under the 8 and the 20, and for sure well under the 50, right? That's pretty easy to see. We had a reverse split of a 1 to 30 right there. We're actually just now coming off of a reverse split. That was what, 2 months ago, give or take, right? I for sure see that we actually did close over the 8 and the 20, all right? And generally, I say if we can break 2 moving averages on a single candle, I expect big things. This thing must close around 166 for me to believe. I would say 175 is kind of the money line, because if this breaks, all there really is red, 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 all the way up to this thing right here at basically 290, right? Um, I think this is an interesting line too. I think in some ways you can argue 150. I think I'm going to set this alert. Well, what did you open at? You opened at 156? Yeah, I like 158. I think 158 can be an interesting alert on GROM. 158 could be a wick fake out. I will say that. Be careful. And again, one more time, well under the 8 and the 20 for a really, really long time. And look, what does the stock know how to do? Super low RSI, goes back up, just to go back down to super low RSI, goes back up, just to come back down to super low RSI? Or is it going to go up? And man, it was a while since it was really anywhere up, and this day was only a 78, right? But hey, if it can go from the four, like this kind of seems like it's more usual high, 58. A ride from 40 to 58 could be all right. Could be all right. Maybe there's a shot at 220. I think there's a lot it needs to do for me to really believe that. I think 166 close tomorrow would do that well. Start to break into the 160s, and maybe you can justify an early entry. Today's 21% I think is a fake out. It really doesn't get me excited, in all honesty. I hope you made money, don't get me wrong, right? But this is what I wanted to see. Even on today's day, we still missed the 50 moving average, the daily volume by a bit, right? So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, as always, thank you.